उनकी बारी है जो एक छोटे से बच्चे की शक्ल में हमें नजर आते थे कुछ सालों पहले। लंबी लंबी जुल्फें थी, दाढ़ी आई नहीं थी। अब जुल्फें भी लंबी हो गई हैं, दाढ़ी भी लंबी हो गई है और इल्म के भी पैकर और अमल के भी पैकर बन गए। सुभान अल्लाह। हमारे मौलाना मोहम्मद हुसैन क़ादरी साहब तशरीफ लाते हैं और सरकार दो आलम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के इरशादात हमें सुनाते हैं। सुभान अल्लाह।
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa la aqibatul muttaqeen wa salatu wa salamu ala sayyidil anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een amma ba'd fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem bismillahir rahmanir rahim وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى. صدق الله مولانا العظيم. سبحان الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا رسول الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا حبيب الله. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا نبي الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا نور الله صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم. Respected brothers and sisters of Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Before I proceed, request all the brothers who are sat at the back and can see our spaces in the Masjid, if you can come forward and try to fill in the gaps. Barakallahu feekum. So brothers at the back on my left and those on my right at the back to come close inshallah and try to fill in the gaps inshallah. Alhamdulillah, by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have gathered in this masjid in the Ijtema of Sunni Dawat Islami to learn, to implement and to teach. We have gathered here today to learn the sacred knowledge, to refine our character, our behavior, and inshallah go out and give a good image of Islam to the people around us. But unfortunately what we see in this day and age, and I am included in this, that we have knowledge, we read books, but our character, our behavior, our approach and our manner is against the teachings of Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let me begin with one beautiful hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I was just sat there and I was reading this beautiful book of Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, from which I'm going to do the talk of today. The reference is Durr al-Manthur, a book of the hadith compiled by Imam Jalaluddin Suyuti radiallahu ta'ala anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sat with his companions when a Sahabi came in front of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, Mal deen, what is religion? Only one question. What is religion? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, having good manners. The same Sahabi, he came from the right hand side, asked the same question. O Prophet of Allah, what is religion? The Sahabi said, the Prophet ﷺ said, having good manners. The third time the Sahabi came from the left. Same question, same answer. The Sahabi came from the back. Again the question, what is religion? The Prophet ﷺ said, having good manners. In this age, we see many individuals, alhamdulillah, they acquire knowledge. They are studying sacred knowledge. But their behavior does not reflect the sacredness of that knowledge. Let me give you an example from a story narrated by the great awliya. Once there was a spiritual Sufi master sat in the masjid with his students, with his disciples. Now listen to this very attentively. He was talking about the purification of the heart. He was talking about the importance of doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, talking about acquiring knowledge and adhering to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. The Sufi master saw a person coming to the masjid who was a scholar, in inverted commas, who did not practice his knowledge. The Sufi master said to his students, to his disciples, when this man comes to you, if he goes past, if he does salam, do not reply to his salam. Because he wanted to teach a lesson to the disciples and to the person who was to approach. Now imagine the Sufi master with his muridun, with his khulafa, with his disciples. The person entered the masjid, he saw a group of believers. He said, Assalamu alaikum ya ikhwan. Peace be upon you, my brothers. Everyone looked down. No one replied to the salam. Okay. Now as we would react, the person became a bit angry. Assalamu alaikum. Silence. No one replied. He said, Ya ikhwan, oh brothers, don't you understand what's the point of doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Don't you know that to reply to salam is wajib? And you're not applying the sunnah and the teachings of Rasulullah in your lives? What is the point of coming to the masjid, doing the dhikr of Allah? Go acquire knowledge. Know the faraid, the wajibat. The Sufi master smiled. He stood up, embraced this person and said, Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And said, come tomorrow and I'm going to teach you something. The person said, what is he going to teach me? Yeah? What is this individual going to teach me? Anyway, the next day the person came, sat next to the Sufi master. The Sufi master, before he came to the place, he sent his disciple student to go and buy some food. So the student went. All the other disciples were there. The Sufi master said to everyone, when he comes, when he does salam, do not reply to salam. The same thing he did to the other person. The disciple came. This is character. This is behavior. This is approach. The disciple came into the masjid. As soon as he came to the masjid, he came to his Sufi master and to the muridun, to the khulafa, to the disciples. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Silence. He became silent. Okay, he fell onto the floor. He began to weep, he began to cry and said, Ya ikhwan, oh brothers, if I have done anything wrong, please tell me. Why are you not replying to my salam? Now from this we get to know that in this day and age, when people mistreat you, when people do not behave in accordance to, we blame it to others rather than ourselves. But the first person should blame when people mistreat you, ill-treat you, is no other than yourselves. Now this is a very important topic I would like to discuss about. Imam Muhammad, Abu Hamid Muhammad ibn Muhammad ibn Muhammad. Al-Ghazali Hujjatul Islam. Do you know the meaning of Hujjah? Means a proof. Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala used to debate the Christians, the atheists, the Mu'tazilites. He became a hujjah. There were only two hujjah al-Islam in Ahlul Sunnah Jama'ah. Hujjat al-Islam, Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and Hujjat al-Islam, Hamid al-Dakhar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Yeah, the beloved son of Allah radiallahu ta'ala anhu proved that looking at his face, people accept Islam. He's Hujjat al-Islam. Imam Muhammad al-Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, once he was teaching in his masjid, he just stood up, the master of sciences, the master of all these ulama at the time of Baghdad, he stood up, went out, took a brush and began to sweep the floor of masjid. The people, the students asked, Ya Imam, why is it that you stood up in the midst of your dance, of your lesson, you went to fetch a brush, you began to sweep the floor? He said that when I was teaching, pride began to emerge in my heart. And I knew the one way to clean our hearts is cleaning the masajid. This is Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and in this day and age, we need to start reading such books to rectify ourselves, to rectify our souls, to rectify our hearts, to rectify and to refine our character, so that we can portray the beauty of Islam to other people. And Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, very beautifully says, now this is a topic I touched upon a couple of weeks ago in Blackburn. So those brothers who are already there, okay, it's a revision for you, and inshallah I'm going to try and finish off the topic today. The great Imam says that if you look at our body, we have different types of limbs, organs, different muscles, different bones. And every organ, every limb, every muscle, and every bone has a specific role. There's a purpose for that muscle, for the organ. The example of an eye. The purpose of the eye is that we can see things, we can perceive things, we can understand things around us visually. The purpose of our ears is that we can hear things. The purpose of our hands is to touch and to grasp. Same with the internal organs, the external limbs. But then, when that limb, when the organ doesn't function properly, then we say that limb, that organ, that muscle is weak or ill. If you cannot see properly, whether you're long-sighted, short-sighted, we see that there's a weakness in our eyes. Yes or no? Yes. MashaAllah. Say Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Okay. I'm not doing the bayan, I'm doing lecturing. Yes? We have to be attentive, inshallah. Same with our ears. What is the purpose of our ears? To see, to hear. Okay. Now if you cannot hear properly, yes, we say there's a weakness in our ears. Okay, we try and hold something, we try and grasp something, if we cannot grasp, for example, we say there's a weakness in our hands. If we cannot walk properly because our feet, there's fatigueness of our feet, we say that our feet are ill, are weak. Yes? Then Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala, question I would like to ask myself and everyone here today. If we know the purpose of every limb of our body, the question is, what is the role, what is the function, and what is the purpose of the heart which Allah subhanahu has given us? I'm talking about the spiritual heart which is embedded in the physical heart. Have you ever wondered what is the purpose of our heart? Respected brothers of Islam, the purpose of having heart is we fill this heart with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now if our hearts are filled with anything other than the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the ulama, the sufiya, the awliya say, then we deem the heart to be weak, to be fatigued, to be filled of diseases. Now what are the symptoms? What are the signs? How do you know that you have the true love of Allah in your hearts? Imam Ghazali radiallahu anhu mentions three things. Number one is when we stand for prayer, for salah for example, we find sweetness in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't find a burden. Waking for Fajr becomes a burden. Coming to Isha 11 o'clock, 10 past 11 in Masjid Usmani for example, becomes a burden. But if you have a true love of Allah in your hearts, you find sweetness. At any time of the day. Yes? This is the first time. First sign. The second sign is that you want to fulfill all the teachings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the third sign is constantly remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be engaged in the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we neglect in this day and age. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions about certain things of the dunya that people tend to have attachment towards, they tend to love. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Tawbah verse 24, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل إن كان آباؤكم, O beloved, you say, إن كان آباؤكم, if your fathers, آباء أجداد, يا آباؤكم, وأبناؤكم, and your children, okay, picture yourself, وإخوانكم, and your brothers, وأزواجكم, and your women, your wives, وعشيرتكم, and your tribe, your family, وأموال اقترفتموها, and the wealth which you gather, you hoarded this wealth, وتجارة تخشون كسادها, and businesses that you fear may collapse, they'll be kasad, they'll be lost in the businesses, ومساكن, and houses ترضونها, in which you find delight, building houses you find delight. 8 things Allah mentioned in this verse. How many things? 8. Allah says, أَحَبَّ إِلَيْكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. If these 8 things, if any of these 8 things are more beloved to you than Allah and His beloved sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَجِهَادٍ فِي سَبِيلِهِ, and struggling in His path, فَتَرَبَّصُوا, then wait. Wait for what? حتى يأتي الله بأمري, till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala descends His command, till Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings down His punishment. If in our hearts there is a love of any of these 8 things more than the love of Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, then, respected brothers and sisters of Islam, we call that heart a weakened heart, a heart full of diseases. And now it is very important, it's paramount, that we try and purify our hearts. Insha'Allah, when you all are awake, say Subhanallah. Also say Subhanallah. I know it's mashallah tea time, I know weather's mashallah very nice in Leicester. Unfortunately we don't have whips. Imam Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, okay, he would have a whip, and when the students of Tabi'un, okay, they would come and seek the knowledge, and if they again became unattentive, he used to be heedless, okay, he used to take his whip out. Okay, but alhamdulillah we're not students of that nature, but we need to be attentive in terms of, because we are learning something, inshallah. So now, Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he says there are 2 things very important for us in our lives. 2 things very important. Number one, is to recognize the diseases of our hearts. We have to know what is in our heart. This is very important. Okay? And one of the greatest blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a person is when Allah shows him his own defects. when a person recognizes his weaknesses, okay, his defects, this is a great ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon the person. And the second is to purify and remove those bad traits, illnesses, diseases from our hearts, from our character, so that our character, our life is close to the life of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Now how do you do this? How do you recognize what is in our heart, and how do we know we have disease in our heart? If you look into the mirror, it won't tell you what's inside your heart. It will tell you what's on your outer form. But what is in the inner form, okay, you need to take practical steps. Now the first one is, a very important one, is first and foremost to sit in front of a spiritual master. Okay, with a murshid that can look into you and say, this is what you have. You're very stingy. You know, there are certain awliya that if the muridun had, let's say, ostentation, used to show off, okay, the wali, the murshid would say, go to the marketplace and start begging. Even though the murid was rich, he said, start begging. If someone gives you the money, return back the money. This way is to conquer their pride. The practical steps. Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala passed away 505 AH. Yes, approximately 900 years ago. He states at that time in Baghdad Sharif, he said, this way I sit in front of a spiritual shaykh, and the shaykh informing you about your weaknesses is very rare in this day and age. 900 years ago. Okay, we're not talking about the 14th Hijri. And the second one, if this is not possible, do the second method. The second method is to find a true friend, a mentor, who will accompany you wherever you go. And he will find weaknesses in you and say, brother, okay, you sleep a lot. For example, brother, you eat a lot. Brother, you need to give more to the poor people. Yes, all the things, all these weaknesses you will find, or sister, yeah, they will find and tell you. But again, Imam Ghazali radiallahu anhu says, unfortunately, we live in such day and age, we don't find such sincere friends that they will come and inform you that these are your weaknesses. Hazrat Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he would say, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shower blessings upon those individuals who show me my weaknesses. Yes, in this age, if someone comes to you, and this is, a practical example, oh brother, you've done this, you've done that. We turn and say, who are you to tell me this? And then we start tweeting things. In this age, on internet. Who are you to tell me this? Who are you to tell me that? Go and learn, do this and do that, brother or sister. If someone is telling you and trying to rectify you, you should show blessings and should thank him. Hazrat Salman Farsi radiallahu ta'ala anhu was in Madinah Munawwarah. He was zahid, an ascetic person. He did not have any dunya. Hazrat Umar went to Hazrat Salman Farsi radiallahu ta'ala and said, Ya Salman, you have to be sincere and tell me, do you find any weaknesses in me? Salman Farsi radiallahu ta'ala initially was very reluctant. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, how can I say anything? Umar said, Hazrat Umar, Amir al-Mu'mineen radiallahu said, Ya Salman radiallahu ta'ala, you have to inform me. Hazrat Salman Farsi said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I only see two weaknesses. Only two weaknesses. What is that? Tell me what are those weaknesses? He said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, number one is when you sit down to eat, you have two types of food. You should only suffice on one type of food. And the second type, the second weakness, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you have two types of clothing. Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, you should only have one piece of clothing, one attire. to cover your body. Huh? This say Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Again, inshallah, mashallah. Okay, now because inshallah the tea is going to be served for your brothers, so please before you drink anything or eat anything in the masjid, you should do the dua bi'atikaf. So please start after me. As-salatu was-salamu alayka ya Rasulullah. Bismillahi dakhaltu wa nawaitu sunnata al-i'tikaf. Jazallahu anna sayyidana Muhammadan sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam ma huwa ahluh. Now imagine these bad traits, bad character, bad mannerism in you are snakes or scorpions. Nazir Bhai, for example, is here from Leicester, mashallah, a pilot, alhamdulillah. If I was to go to him and say, Nazir Bhai, you've got a snake or scorpion underneath, what is he going to do? Is he going to say, is he going to reprimand me? And say, how dare you say that? Yeah, or rather we say, Moulana Husein, mashallah, jazakallah, you saved my life. And then what is he going to do? He's going to run away from the scorpions, from the snakes. Imam Ghazali says, O Muslims, diseases of the heart are worse than snakes and scorpions. Because snakes and scorpions, if they were to bite you, the worst thing that would happen is you're going to leave this dunya. But if there are diseases in your heart, the worst thing that will happen to you is you'll fall in depths of Jahannam. If a brother comes to you and informs you, brother, you shouldn't lie, you shouldn't backbite, you shouldn't do that. You should acknowledge, raise your hand and say, I acknowledge this. And you should thank him, brother, thank you, sister, thank you, that you try to rectify me so that I can attain Jannah without Hisab wal Kitab. Hazrat Dawat radiallahu ta'ala anhu, great wali of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, left people. He began to live in a remote place, in the outskirts of the city. The people asked, Ya Imam, what is the reason you left the city? He said, what is the point living within those individuals that do not inform me about my weaknesses? What is the point? Betrayal. They're not true friends. Yes? And then the third step. First step is to sit in front of a pure murshid, a spiritual master. This is, for example, in this age, especially in this country, is very difficult. Number two, to find a sincere friend. This is very difficult. What is the third step? The practical step. Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala says, then listen to what your enemies have to say. Listen carefully what your enemies say about you. Because the enemies are always looking for faults. They're always looking for weaknesses. And most of the time they're correct. So listen, be close to your enemies than those friends who do not tell you about weaknesses. Because those enemies will rectify you and will purify you. Whilst these friends will destroy you and you'll be people of Jahannam. Listen to your enemies. Yes? What they say about you. But look at this person. Show off. You might be a person filled with ostentation or crime. Look at him. He never wakes up for Salatul Fajr. Look at him. I never see him come to the Masjid. Okay, don't argue back and say, who are you? Okay, acknowledge. Yes. And the fourth practical step, which is Imam Ghazali said, which is the easiest, and you do not need anyone except yourself. As you heard, that a Muslim is a brother of another Muslim. Imam Ghazali radiallahu ta'ala says, then live amongst the people and observe people around you. If you find any weakness in a brother or a sister, try to imagine it's reflecting you and you try to rectify yourself. Say Subhanallah. Also say Subhanallah. Also say Subhanallah. Yes? So this mirror reflects you. When you see weakness in your brother or a sister, then do not try to reprimand the person. First look into yourself. Do I have that little bad trait within me? And try to remove it. Try to take it away from you, and inshallah, one by one, if you live a life like this, then inshallah, one by one, all these bad traits within you will be removed. The Prophet ﷺ was coming from a battle, and a group of companions entered Madinatul Munawwara. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Marhaban bikum, welcome. قدمتم من الجهاد الأصغر إلى الجهاد الأكبر." O companions, you have come from a minor struggle, a minor battle, to a greater battle. Now imagine, in a battlefield, you're risking your lives. But in a battlefield, there's only a win-win situation. If you pass away, you become a martyr. And if you win, you become victorious. For a Muslim. Now, do you know this? Can you see this? Okay, this niche. What's the name of this place where the Imam stands? Anyone in the back? What's the name of this where the Imam stands? Not the Kaaba. MashaAllah. Yes. Qibla, that is the Qibla. But what do you call the place where the Imam stands? Mihrab. Mihrab is from the word harb, battle. Mihrab, Masjid means a place of sajda. Mihrab, a place of battle. This place is a place of battle. You battle in yourself. When you come to the Masjid, when you stand in prayer, you're fighting yourself from the wasawis, from bad thoughts. That is greater struggle. And the Prophet ﷺ deemed this as a greater jihad al-akbar. And this is what we neglect. Hazrat Yahya, and inshallah just to finish off. Hazrat Yahya ibn Mu'adh radiallahu ta'ala anhu states that use the swords of struggle to combat your ego, your nafs. Yes, you all want your tea, mashallah, you've got tea. But if you want your tea, you can say, no, I'm not going to listen to my ego, I'm not going to drink tea. Yes, it is permissible to drink tea. I'm not saying it's haram, I'm just giving an example, yes. I'm going to have it after, inshallah. So now he says, Hazrat Yahya radiallahu says, fight your ego with swords of, struggle. And he says there are four struggles, four combats, four battles. Number one, to eat less. To eat less. And what is going to be the result of this, if you begin to eat less, is you're going to tend to remember death more often. You're going to prepare for your death more. Number two, to sleep less. Not sleepless, sleep less. Yes? And what is going to be the benefit of this? If you begin to sleep less, there will be ikhlas in your heart. Your intentions will become more purified. The third is to talk less. To talk less. And what is the beauty of this? You will be protected from calamities. And the fourth, very important one, is to be patient, to be sabir, to have sabr when people mistreat you. Someone becomes angry, tells you off, swears at you, harms you, hurts you. You do not retaliate, you do not answer back, but you absorb the anger, you drink the anger. What is going to be the benefit of this? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will increase your status. Now, Anas radiallahu ta'ala anhu, I do not have the book in front of me, he mentions in Fatawa Ifriqiyya that the first step towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is when you remove 40 different types of illnesses. How many types? 40 types of the spiritual illnesses. Yes, and that is why this great awliya, just to finish at this point inshallah, Khwaja ibn Nawaz radiallahu ta'ala anhu, at the age of 52, he entered Ajmer Sharif. He wasn't young. You are listening. At the age of 52, he entered Ajmer Sharif. And within short time, a very short time, he converted 9 million people into Islam. We spoke for years, and we speak for years, but it doesn't affect anyone. It's because their language was different from our language. All these great preachers of Islam, all these great awliya, wherever they went, they did not speak the language of that city or that country, but they spoke using a different language. And what is that? Lugha. Lughatul akhlaq. The language of akhlaq. The language of manners. The language of showing goodness to other people. This is the language, a universal language of awliya, that wherever they went, they showed people the true beauty of Islam by their character. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first and foremost give us the ability to understand the weaknesses within ourselves. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then give us the ability to try and rectify our inner state so that we can become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.